Hello? Okay, it's working. Sorry. Uh, this Google Hangouts drives me crazy. It's just always one problem after another. But anyway, so I am here to talk about the movies that I saw in the month of June. And if you are on the chat room, just put in your comments about these. I'm going to try to go quickly because people like that better last month. And oh, good, Reese, thanks. I'm glad you're on the chat. So let's get talking. No spoilers for any of these films. There were a lot, actually. I had a pretty busy month in June. So these are kind of just in a weird order. They're kind of all over the place. But I'm going to start with a classic that I was able to see this month on the big screen. I saw The Godfather. I saw two classic films this month. And I admire The Godfather more than I love it because I'm just not that into mob movies. It's just not my cup of tea. But it's certainly very well made and very well done. And it was a lot of fun to watch in the theater. Me and my friend, we had a great time. And there's something about sort of the music and the experience on the big screen that just made it a lot better at home for me, for The Godfather. So the next movie that I saw is My Cousin Rachel. And this, I was hoping that I would like it better than I did, based on Daphne du Maurier novel. I love Rebecca. I love the novel. Plus, I love the Hitchcock movie of it. This has a strong performance from Rachel Weisz. But boy, the lead character is so stupid. So stupid. And so it was a little hard for me to get into it. I don't know. It's a little slow. It's not really that tense. It's not that like Rebecca is, but it looks really nice. And there are some good performances, but it wasn't as good as I was hoping it would be. So the next film is Captain Underpants, and Captain Underpants I've talked a lot about on this channel quite a bit. I really liked it. I thought it was so much fun. I thought it was so creative how it used the different mediums and used the different animation styles, the sock puppets and circus sequences. It kept it really surprising and very inventive. And I really liked these two boys as friends. And I liked the fact that they were continually creating their own characters and things like that. That was really cool, I think, to see, and a good message for kids, to not just be mindless consumers, but to create your own stories. I like that. And I thought it was generally pretty funny. I laughed quite a bit. So it's up there in my favorite animated films of the year for Captain Underpants. So then, and I see that Tommy Diaz-Millen says, I saw this month Captain Underpants, Wonder Woman, Despicable Me 3, and Cars 3. So that's pretty good little list there. You have to let me know which one was your favorite out of all of those. So then the next one that we're going to talk about is Wonder Woman. I technically saw this the first time in May, but it was an early screening, and so I didn't talk about it last month. And I thought that this movie was just amazing. I loved it so much. I thought it had such emotion to it. That's why I liked it. Yeah, the story is pretty generic superhero story, but because I was so emotionally connected with the character, I really loved it. I've seen it 3 times, and I really just kind of want to keep going and seeing it more and more because I loved it so much. And one of my favorites of the year for sure. I've talked a lot about that. So I know, I just loved it. I loved the No Man's Land scene. I loved the chemistry between Chris Pine and Gal Gadot. I thought they were so great together, and I loved how they were in equal companionship together. I thought they both added things to their relationship. It wasn't a male bashing film by any means, so that was really great. And then the next movie I saw was another classic called Some Like It Hot. And this is very funny with Marilyn Monroe, Tony Curtis, and Jack Lemmon. And it's an interesting movie because I feel like in today's day of sort of transgender awareness and gender sort of things, a lot of the comedy isn't quite as sharp as it used to be. You know, the idea that somebody would dress in drag and stuff like that was, I think, way more crazy and silly and funny back then. But it's still pretty funny, and it still works. It's just, I don't think it's quite it. Like, I think it was like 100% back then, and now it's like an 80%. But I still really enjoyed it. The performances are really good, and they make it work, and it's all very good natured. Nothing in it is mean spirited at all. So it's one, if you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. Something like it hot. And so we've got some Reese says, I saw the Pirates of the Caribbean at the start of the month. I enjoyed it. My only problem was I didn't understand why the father-daughter story was there between Barbossa and Karina. Yeah, it's fair. That was one of the weaker elements of the movie, and especially I thought the last 45 minutes and the way that it kind of ends was in that particular, the way Barbossa what happens is, yes, it wasn't all that great. So I get it. I get what you're saying. So Tommy says, Despicable Me 3, I thought the new one did a good job. Trey Parker is having fun in it as Balthazar Brat. Captain Underpants was good. I never read the books, but liked the movie. And Christian Schell was in Captain Underpants. So that's your favorite. Cool. Good deal. And let's see, Reese says, I also disliked that they made Brenton Thwaites the son of Will Turner because the second and third movie had Will Turner and his father in it. So I felt this was lazy. It's fair. It's certainly fair. It did feel a little bit like a cheap way to continue the saga, I guess. Not everybody has to be related to everybody. That's a problem that Star Wars movies kind of have. Like, why don't you tell a totally new story about a family in the world of Pirates of the Caribbean? And I think they kind of tried to do that a little bit in the fourth movie, but yeah, I don't know. People just want to stay within particular families for some reason. So anyway, interesting. Okay, then next is Cars 3. I've seen this twice, and I really enjoyed it, and I liked it even better on a second watch. I think the has a really nice message about what happens to us when we are only presented with certain options lives, and that's what happens to Cruz. Is she's only given certain options in her life, and she just has finally learned to sort of accept that that's what is her possibility, and it takes someone else kind of shoving her into this sort of spotlight in order for her to even sort of embrace that option and that believe that it's possible. And so I really like that. The animation's amazing. The racing sequences were amazing. And I thought that it handled Mater in a better way than Cars 2. And overall, it's a movie that just keeps growing on me. And I keep debating, do I like Captain Underpants or do I like Cars 3 better? Because I really like both films a lot. So you can check out my review and also my podcast I did with AJ on Cars 3 if you want to know more about my thoughts on that film. The next one that I saw is a movie called Becoming Cary Grant. This is a documentary all about the life of Cary Grant, and it was really, really, really interesting to hear about some of the therapy that he had that helped him sort of deal with his childhood trauma and what happened to him as a child. It was pretty interesting. It's a good sort of counter argument to a movie like La La Land that your dreams of stardom and stuff are going to make you happy, and in this case he achieved so much, but it didn't make him happy or solve the problems of his youth. So I liked it a lot. It was really strong, and I can't think of his name, but the guy Jonathan Pryce for the Pirates movies, he voices Cary Grant, and he sounds so much like him. It's amazing. So if they ever did a biography or whatever, he would be a good one to pick. He really does sound so much like Cary Grant. Next is 47 Meters Down. I thought this was such a blast. I've seen it twice. I took my friend. She really liked it. acting isn't that great, but it works as far as creating tension, and the sharks, I think, looked really good, and I liked this idea of having a shark movie under the water, because usually you just see like a little bit of the shark and above water, but this, like, you can see the whole shark, and I really liked it. I thought it was super fun. I'd be willing to even go see it again. That's how much I liked it. And it was very entertaining to me. I thought all of these scares really worked well, and I just really enjoyed it. I thought it was a very entertaining film. Then I saw. Reese says, "I'm going to try and see Captain Underpants because of the way you praised it." Yes, woo! So the next movie we're going to talk about is a movie called Band-Aid. This is a movie I almost saw at Sundance, but I didn't get in. I was too late. But I was pretty excited for it because it looked like it might be sort of a Sing Street kind of a situation. It's about this married couple that writes their fights into songs. And that sounds like it could be really sort of charming, but it actually wasn't. I was kind of disappointed in this one. I didn't really like it. Like most of the songs, there's only like 2-3 songs. They're not really very good songs. And I just felt like most of the movie was just them fighting, and it was just really unpleasant. And I just didn't find it charming at all. And if you're going to have something unpleasant, like, I feel like it should sort of be insightful or new or different. I didn't feel any of that. So I wouldn't recommend it. I didn't really care for Band-Aid. And it wasn't funny really at all, I didn't think. It had a couple funny sort of sarcastic jokes, but I didn't like it, so I wouldn't recommend it. Then I saw the latest Adam Sandler Netflix film, Sandy Wexler, and it's a bad movie for sure. But I'm not going to have it in my bottom 10, because I do feel like they actually tried to make a movie in this case compared to the Ridiculous Six and to the Do-Over. It wasn't as offensive. It wasn't as horrible. Like, his voice is so annoying. And he's basically like, I felt like it was a chance for Adam Sandler to have a whole bunch of famous people tell him how much they loved him, in the form of Sandy Wexler. Like, there's so many scenes of people being like, "Oh, Sandy, we love you, we love you, we love you," kind of a thing. And that just got really old after a while, and it just wasn't funny. I didn't find it that funny, but compared to the last two, it was like Oscar worthy. It was a lot better than those other two movies, which didn't even feel like movies. Like, this was, I could watch it and not want to, like, just pause it every 5 seconds, like with those movies. So I'm just gonna give them a break, because I do feel like someone actually tried to, like, make a movie. So good job, Sandy Wexler. Okay, so then we saw, speaking of the opposite, I saw Transformers: The Last Night. I think if you're a fan of this franchise, I don't see any reason why you wouldn't also enjoy this film. It's loud. It's got, Transformers action. It's got hot babes. It's got, I don't know, Mark Wahlberg, and tons of different subplots. But I found it very, very stomachache to watch it. The speed kept changing, and it really quickly, like, you're in like one fight, and it would just keep cropping and cropping and cropping and cropping and cropping and cropping. And I really felt sort of nauseous after I finished seeing it. I had a fun time because my friend was there, but with me, and so we had a fun time together. But I felt like it had all of the tropes of this franchise, and I'm not a big fan of this franchise. And I felt like it was a shame, because I think that there was some potential here to do something fun. Like, how can it not be fun to have Transformers fighting Nazis? That should be really fun, but it just wasn't. And so I didn't care for it with Transformers: The Last Night. So anyway, next movie that I want to talk about is called Everybody Loves Somebody. This is a rom-com that is really cool, because it shows like the bilingual kind of nature of many, at least Latino people, many people in America. And what I liked is the only movie I think I've ever seen where when the lead character was with Mexican family, they spoke in Spanish with subtitles. And when she was with the Americans, it was in English. And usually it's like they pick one or the other. It's like all in English or all in Spanish. As sort of your typical, maybe your typical Latino immigrant experience. That's kind of the way they live. Certain people they talk Spanish with, certain people they talk English with, and I thought that was kind of cool, and I enjoyed it. It doesn't reinvent the wheel. It has a very cliched story of bringing the stranger to the family wedding. Just so you don't want to show up without a date, and you've got the old flame. So it's a very cliched story, but I thought the performances were pretty good, and overall I thought it was entertaining enough, and they did enough sort of nice things to enjoy it. But anyway, so that was its most special thing. This bilingual nature of it was really cool. The next movie is Song to Song. This is the latest Terrence Malick movie. I've been kind of a defender of Terrence Malick. He makes these art pieces that a lot of people don't like, and I totally get it because there's really no story, and so you just kind of have to accept sort of this experience of watching art. But this one, I didn't feel like it was pretty enough. I didn't feel like it was sort of awe-inspiring enough to sort of enjoy it on that level. So I think this, even for me, who's a Terrence Malick apologist, I can't really defend it like I usually can. I just felt like the story wasn't really that good and art really wasn't that good. So it was a disappointment, especially when you have Ryan Gosling and Michael Fassbender and Natalie Portman, and you have this amazing cast, and yeah, so that was disappointing. Then I saw Split. I finally saw Split, and I did not care for it at all. Really, I mean, I guess it's sort of well made, and James McAvoy is good, but I did not care about the twist at all because I'm not really that big of an Unbreakable fan. I'm not an M. Night Shyamalan fan really at all, and I felt like this had sort of a disturbing portrayal of mental illness, schizophrenia. People with multiple personality disorders are not scary; they're not dangerous, and I feel like this movie sort of continues that stigma and continues that feeling. And I felt that it was really weird, the sort of this child rape plot line that they had going on, and the idea that like somehow that made her sort of more worthy and pure than the other girls. I really didn't like. That was really in poor taste, I think. I don't know, and I just didn't find it that scary. And I didn't care about the twist, so I didn't like Split. It was not for me. So a lot of other people like it, so that's cool. But then the next movie that I saw is Baby Driver. I have my review on my channel for that, and this was a lot of fun. This is kind of like Fast and the Furious done with sort of a more auteur kind of feel to it, less of a guilty pleasure than those movies can be. This was so well edited, so well paced, so you never really have time to sort of think about it and be like, how could they have really pulled off that heist? How could they have really done that? Because it's just so well sort of put together and paced and acted and everything like that. Because if you start to think about it, you're like, wait a minute, that person like shouldn't have survived that and that and that and that. And that shouldn't have worked, but you're so engaged in what's going on that it does work. So, and the way they use the music is really, really, really great. And I like that the song choices weren't like super obvious. It's not like you have like Wild Thing or something like that you've seen in a million other movies. They were a little more creative, a little bit different, and so I like that. And so then the next movie I want to talk about is The Beguiled. It's gotten tons of praise. It won all the Sofia Coppola, the Director's Prize at Cannes, and it is beautiful. If you just want to watch a beautiful movie This is really, really, really pretty. The costumes, the lighting, the way the cinematography, it all is really well done. Great job. And the acting is fine. I enjoyed it all. But I felt like it kind of took away what the tension that was in the original film. And some of the choices they made I thought were really strange. And that, I don't know, like I felt like they made the soldier too nice, too likable, because he's supposed to be kind of a predator, and that's what makes it thrilling and creepy and scary, what's going to happen to these women. And he's sort of picking on kind of the most vulnerable and the most plain. And in the 1971 original, Edwina is really, and I just didn't get that feeling from Kirsten Dunst. So I think that was sort of miscast. You needed somebody who was less pretty than her. And I don't know. So it didn't quite work for me the way I was hoping it would. And I just felt like with the pacing that they took a lot of the choices. There's a scene where a character has to make a choice, and of what to do as far as, are they going to treat the soldier, or are they going to amputate this leg? And in the original film, it's like very clear that they don't have to do that. But in this film, so it makes it sort of all the more sort of evil of her that she has decided to saw off this leg. But in this film, it's presented as the opposite, that she has to do it because that's the only choice, and he's going to die if she doesn't do it. And so the tension in the scene is missing, and also the anger that he feels isn't as earned, because you saw that she had no other choice, whereas in the first, it is earned that he's that angry at her because that she actually had other choices. Anyway, so that's just kind of, I just felt like a lot of what they did kind of took tension away from what was in the original film. And I know that's maybe lame to compare to the original film, but I just couldn't help it since I just recently seen it. Anyway, the last movie I want to talk about is Despicable Me 3. I just reviewed it on my channel, and I thought that this movie had some fun jokes. Some things made me laugh, but I particularly liked when the Minions sing Pirates of Penzance, Modern Major General. That made me laugh. I thought the opening sequence was kind of fun. I liked Balthazar Blatt. It was amusing as this villain. I liked also to see Lucy trying to be a better mom. I thought that was sort of a nice message, and that worked. But none of these, they don't do a really good job of making all of these plot lines sort of work well together as one cohesive story. And I didn't like Gru or Drew, the plot line at all. That didn't work at all for me, and that's sort of the major story. So that was a miss. And it's it's a forgettable, but I think that there's fun to be had, I guess, in it. And if you like this franchise, I think you'll probably enjoy it. But I've never been that big of a fan. But at least I definitely thought it was better than Minions, for sure. At least it made me laugh a little bit and had a few moments that I liked in some of these plots. So, but I really didn't like Gru or Drew at all. So there you go. We are the very model of a cartoon individual. Yeah, very good. So that is out. That's it. That's all the movies I saw in June. Holy cow, that was a lot. But I hope you enjoyed that. Let me know in the comment section what you thought of any of these movies, or what was your favorite and what you saw in June. And yeah, thanks so much. And let me know if you like this format. I've just had so many problems with Google Hangouts lately, and it looks like this has had a few problems of sort of stopping and some buffering problems, but oh well. Hope you enjoy it, and let me know what you think, what formats you prefer for this monthly video. So just trying different things every month, trying to figure out what works the best. So anyway, thanks so much. Please subscribe to my channel, and you want to follow my blog, 54 Disney Reviews, and we should have my discussion of the Doctor Who finale with Jonathan coming up. It should be sometime either Sunday night or Monday. We're going to try. It depends on how good of internet I have at the hotel I'm going to be at for this family reunion thing I'm going to. I will keep you guys posted. Make sure to follow me on Twitter at SmilingLDSGirl. And thanks so much. Please, and I will talk to you all later.